What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki back out with another of the Chris Watts videos, and this one has been highly asked about, including Real Killers has mentioned as well that I need to watch their video. And it's not just him, it's hundreds of you guys. So with that being said, with the video that we just posted not too long ago about possibly 3 women that hated Shanann because why? She was being herself. You guys have been wanting me to look into, again, the NUTGATE video, or the NUTGATE portion of it, where the triology and so forth with Cece and Shanann being apparently exaggerating when triologies are no joke. Like, it's almost like bees, and so if you have one of those pens that you have to put in your leg and stuff like that, it's no joke. And apparently Chris was exaggerating, or Chris was mentioning that Shanann was exaggerating, which is beyond the point of reasonable doubt. That's one reason why he thinks that he was so mad at her, is because she was exaggerating on everything. That's a lie in itself. So with that being said, with you guys watching at home, we're going to be watching NUTGATE Open Wounds from Real Killers. So grab a chair, get comfortable, and let's get into this video. But before we go any further, if you guys could do me a solid favor on both channels of mine and Real Killers, is subscribe to our channel by hitting the white bar icon down the bottom right. Hit the bell icon next to it, so I do post videos like this one. You guys will get that little ring notification that I posted that video. You guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, thank you guys so very much for the love and support that you guys show on our channels. Real Killers is increasing by the numbers. I am as well, and it's all because of you guys. So keep doing what you guys are doing. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I'll be meeting Real Killers in Wisconsin Dells. I am so excited. Hopefully our what do they call it? We cross paths and so forth. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Plus, I enjoy Real Killers' content.
Say hi, Bella.
You know, it's funny that he dreams about this life when he could have had this life. All he had to do was forget Nicole. Well, don't worry about his mother. Don't worry about his sister. Like, you can still be part of your family, but once you leave the nest and you marry into a new life, like, I'm not saying forget your old life or your family, but you're starting to make a new one. And Cindy hated that.
So, Daddy?
Real Killers knows, and again, I'm pausing because you guys don't want me to talk. So stop it in the comments saying you're stopping all the time. It's my channel. Knock it off. Real Killers really knows how to hit your heartstrings. So if I do get teary-eyed, I do apologize.
Wake up.
Man, he chose that life.
Like I said, prison sucks. I can tell inmates that have light at the end of the tunnel. They got a little pep in their step, counting down to years, months, and days till freedom. A little upbeat, always want to talk. I can tell inmates that are leaving in a body bag, quiet, reserved. There's a hollow look in their eyes, permanently damaged souls. There's something about the constant artificial light in my cell and the echoes of inmates and guards communicating. Footsteps and keys number 1, it's 9 p.m. Footsteps and keys number 2, it's 1 a.m. Footsteps and keys number 3, it's 5 a.m. Time for head count. Day in, day out. Watching them come in, watching them go. New faces, old faces. COs retire, COs get hired. The same surrounding, the same routine. A Shark Tank. This does something to you and can drive a person mad. If we're lucky enough to survive a long stretch, we re-enter society a different man, rehabilitated, more like re-educated. On the flip side, Chris has got a fan club.
Who thinks it's wrong that Chris Watts has his picture or his family's pictures in his cell? I'm sorry, but that's like, I think that's so wrong. It's like, I mean, it's like, it's like any murder putting their loved ones, that's anybody that's killed their loved ones or family, and put their picture up on the wall to remember them by. You could have had them. You could have been with them, loved them, cuddled with them, but he destroyed them because of a woman. It's like mind-blowing.
Letters he receives do help. Getting a letter in prison is very appreciated by inmates. Like I said, it's a lonely place, and letters help inmates cope, giving them a sense of companionship. Doing that time is hard enough, but doing that
He don't need to cope, he needs to suffer.
time alone, well, that's a whole different animal. Someone on the outside that can make a phone call for them, put a few bucks on their books, someone to vent to, someone to write to. Humans need that.
Out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared.
Bye.
Hold on. Sorry. Seared with scars.
Say bye. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, she looks like a terrible mother.
The following are some accounts of Christopher's childhood given to Sherilyn by his mother, Cindy Watts.
Oh boy. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Christopher Lee Watts came into the world as innocent as any other child, born on May 16, 1985. He weighed 10 pounds and was only 19 inches long. He was born on a sunny, warm day in Fayetteville, North Carolina, at Cape Fear Medical Center. Ronnie and Cindy didn't have maternity insurance. She stated it took them 18 months to pay for his birth. He was their second child. Ronnie and Cindy's first child was a 7-year-old energetic little girl named Jamie. She was excited to welcome a baby brother into their family. They grew up close, and they still are today. He was a happy child, always respectful. He adored his father and looked up to him. Cars were their bond together. They went to places like Bristol, Tennessee, and Daytona, Florida. When looking at his pictures and hearing the stories about his very normal childhood, you have to ask yourself, just as his family does, how did this change? Cars were their bond together. Overall, Christopher was very much his dad's son. Christopher took after his father's quiet, friendly, and soft-spoken personality. How could someone like this make such a turn from who they seemingly were, and make a decision so horrible and destructive? An introvert, Christopher has never been openly affectionate or emotional. He made good grades in school and never got into any trouble with teachers or authority. He loved sports, and Ronnie friends he did have went to school dances, he stayed home and watched television with his parents.
That's the thing too, is I'm not necessarily saying that Chris is okay with what he did. Like, but Nicole Kessinger like ruined Chris's life. He did as well. She ruined two little girls' life, an unborn baby's life, Shanann's life. She technically ruined the Rzucek's life. She did ruin Cindy Watts and Ronnie Watts' life because they don't have their son out of prison anymore. She ruined so many lives. And guess what she's doing? Living her life to the fullest. You learned all this stuff before, which is fantastic. You want to learn, you want to do good, you want to try to live your life as religious and as righteous as possible. But NK came out of the woodwork, manipulated that man so much. You can't tell me to this day that Nicole Kessinger did not manipulate this man. But she put all the blame on him. He was after her. This wasn't very serious. Get out of here. Like, I'm so like fed up with people trying to support Chris and Nicole, but Nicole mostly, that people are like, oh, just get rid of it or just get over it. Like, come on.
As if he did anything. He had committed. Cindy said she never knew what those things were. Christopher and Shanann did not follow a religion. He told me he feels bad that he never asked Shanann where things were with her beliefs or how she felt about God.
What you should be talking about. Like, I know what my fiance and I believe. We believe in God.
You'd think if he was really a God-fearing man, a conversation about religious beliefs to a woman you're about to marry would have been priority.
Yeah.
Not sure I buy all of what Cindy...
Usually, I'm not saying back in the old days, but you had to take classes. You had to, like, talk with the person that was going to marry you. You had to learn, like, financials and communications and religion, and, like, you had to do this stuff. It doesn't sound like that happened here.
He has to say. Of course, his mom will talk about how much of an amazing kid Chris was growing up after committing such a disgusting act. Chris is quite the piece of shit, and women continue to write him. What if it were your baby? If he'd take out his own kids, he'd definitely take yours out too.
Put yourself in his shoes.
And be cautious, because when he gets tired of you, he might just sell your phone number and address for next Thursday's main to someone who will get released one day. Yardbird is an institution favorite. We didn't get it very often, but when we seen it on the menu, you better believe inmates were wheeling and dealing to secure an extra. Everyone got one piece, one chicken quarter, and it was small but tasty as hell. I could hear the laundry workers making their rounds. You want to sell your Yardbird? Hey, what do you want for Thursday's main? You need new threads? Prison greens have been worn for years and years. Inmates always get screwed coming in. You can tell when the green is faded out that the clothes you're about to put on your back has been worn by many convicts. Laundry workers have access to brand new crisp prison greens. Inmates will never ever get one handed to them coming in. You gotta buy new threads in the joint. Like I said before, everything is worth something in the penitentiary, and one Yardbird will get you just about anything. I'm sure inmate Watts enjoys the Yardbird at the Dodge Correctional Institution. I know I did. He gets mail from many, many women. I'm sure he can spare a letter to another lonely inmate for that extra bird.
Life-Changing Realities, Sherilyn Cato, Chapter 3. I've read her books. I definitely enjoyed the books.
I don't know. I have a lot in the kitchen. So, I'm giving a box of crowbars away to the next two people.
That's why she was on social media so much.
Of their Thrive experience for the first time. You get your choice of the birthday cake or the cinnamon roll. Both are amazing. I love birthday cake. I like birthday cake ice cream. I like birthday cake shake. I like birthday cake
I'm not birthday
everything.
Cake
So it's really, really
too
delicious.
sweet for me.
Hold that thought for a second.
Shanann worked for Thrive, a direct marketing sales company that sells nutrition and weight management products in the form of vitamins, shakes, and patches. Christopher was consuming this product daily in large amounts. He was wearing what they
People tried to blame this patch. Like, they're willing to blame anything but what he did, what Nicole did. Like, they're blaming other things, and it's like, come on. It's like, have Chris take credit for what he did. I'm not saying take credit or take responsibility for what he did. Nicole, like, she did wrong. We can't physically say that she was physical in the murder itself, but we've witnessed 3 to 4 felonies that she committed, and she was never charged for any of them.
called a DFT duo patch, which he said caused his heart rate to speed up like he was working out all day. At one point, he said he never had less than 2 patches on him at all times. Beside the duo patch, he was also drinking more than 1 shake a day. He took 2 of the tablets every morning. He was loaded up. Christopher was taking so much of this high end he couldn't sleep. He says he could only sleep about 3 hours per night. He did say that because of living in Colorado and taking Thrive, Shanann did not have to take any medication. Shanann was doing very well selling Thrive, and Christopher benefited in several ways.
I can tell you I get about 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night, and I don't want to murder my family.
From it. Shanann earned many free trips that they were able to enjoy. Since Christopher worked a full-time job, he was not free to go on all of the trips and was needed at home to care for the girls. So there were many weekends he would stay home doing special things with them, taking them to special places. That was his time to bond with them. He supported Shanann in what she had to do and when she traveled. This is how she helped to earn a living, and she claimed to have more than 200 people under her. She had great ambition and was headed on up the ladder with Thrive. One of the things Shanann did to help her with business was to entertain. She planned parties, some of them quite large, spending hundreds of dollars on one dinner party. It was very important to her to appear well off. Appearances were everything. Some of her friends looked up to her or were envious of her because she seemed to have it all. He always knew where his place was. When they would have company or dinner parties, his place was to stay upstairs and entertain whatever children were there. He didn't mind much because he preferred to stay in the background anyway. And honestly, trying to keep up an appearance was kind of embarrassing for him. Christopher had become a background noise. It's very harmful.
I'd rather play with the kids. Like, that's more fun. You get to play with the cars. You get to play with the dolls and stuff like that. And I'm more on a kid's level. Like, I mean, look at my room. Like, I have toys. Like, I love spending time with my kids and their friends and stuff like that. It's energetic and they're really
to a person, and soon something will have to change.
And then they want to sit there and say, "Oh, he was socially awkward."
You're gonna have to go live and
Yeah. One of the things we did to pass the time is reminisce about what we did and who we were in the free world. Some folks were doing big things and had a lot going for them. None of that matters inside them walls, because on the inside, we are all just a number, property of the state. It didn't matter if you were in construction or a fireman.
What? A photo of me in Mobile, Alabama job site. Is that really?
Doctor, lawyer. Nope, didn't matter. On the inside, we were all equal. We were all just a bunch of convicts. We were judged based off of our offenses. If you did crimes against women and children, you were dealt with accordingly. Tommy Lynn Sells hurt women and children. Inmates left him alone because they knew the state was going to kill him. He was executed by lethal injection on April 3rd, 2014, in a Texas state prison in Huntsville. Albert DeSalvo was a well-known American rapist, also known as the Boston Strangler. Most of his victims were women. While serving his time in the Massachusetts Department of Corrections, a man by the name of Robert Wilson stabbed inmate DeSalvo to death, but no one was ever convicted for his murder. That just tells me the guards had something to do with that. Colin Hatch was convicted of killing 7-year-old Sean Williams and sentenced to life in prison in 1994. He was killed in prison by a fellow inmate by the name of Damien Folks in the British prison system. I salute you, mate. John Johan, a Catholic priest who abused more than 130 children over 30 years in 6 different parishes. He was charged in 91, defrocked in 98, sentenced to prison in 2002, and strangled by Joseph Druce, a white supremacist, in 2003. Johan was 68 when the devil sent for him. Chris Watts is still early in his sentence. Inmates have all the time in the world. Planned attacks have been in the works since the day he stepped foot.
I mean, they got military grade, like, people watching Chris Watts. Like, they know if they let up on the security, something bad's gonna happen.
Through them gates at Dodge. The clock began the moment he decided to take out his wife and 3 babies.
That's the thing. If you go to prison and you either murder your mom, murder your wife, murder your kids, you're a pedophile, you might as well sign your death certificate, because that's what's gonna happen to you.
Several stories were highlighted in the media about Shanann and Christopher's family problems. When Shanann and Christopher got engaged, they decided to have an engagement party. During the planning of the party, Christopher's sister, Jamie, offered to help. Shanann had a list of things that needed to be done. Jamie offered to address and mail out the invitations. On the day of the party, most of the friends did not come. The next day, Shanann made some phone calls and found out her friends never got an invitation. So Jamie was accused of never mailing them out. Jamie says she sent them. Shanann asked Jamie to be a bridesmaid in her wedding, and for Jamie's daughter to be a flower girl. The week right before the wedding, Shanann made an appointment for all the girls in the wedding party to have their nails done at a spa. I was told that because of Jamie's work hours, she was unable to meet them at the spa. She says Shanann told her that both Jamie and her daughter need not be at the wedding, but dresses were bought and the money had been spent. So, because of this, Cindy, Ronnie, Jamie, and the rest of her family did not attend the wedding.
They didn't go because they didn't like Shanann.
Although they finally moved past it, this is a reason for the hurt that never completely healed. Cindy says, however, they have always regretted not going to the wedding. Christopher said he forgave his parents, but it deeply hurt him and Shanann that they chose not to come. One of the big things that happened before the murders was a huge falling out between Shanann and her in-laws. During her 5-week visit to North Carolina, Shanann's plan was to spend the weekends at the Watts. The second weekend, she was there on Sunday when the ice cream debacle, what Cindy calls NUTGATE, took place. Sandy Rzucek, Shanann's mom, has refused to comment. Cindy Watts wanted to tell her side of the story of what she calls NUTGATE. During the investigation, Cindy was blamed for trying to kill Celeste. According to Cindy and Jamie, it happened on a weekend when Shanann was at the Watts house during her 5-week visit. The only people there were Cindy, Shanann, Ronnie, and all the grandkids. Jamie had dropped her kids off on her way to work, so she said she was there when the ice cream issue came out. Yet the story told was she was not only there, but that she also came into the house and put out a bowl of nuts. Cindy and Jamie said this did not happen. Ronnie was there also and said he was caught off guard with how the argument escalated. The story Shanann's mother has told is not exactly the way Cindy and Jamie tell it. The oldest granddaughter, which is 11 years old, went into the kitchen and got ice cream from the freezer, which Cindy says was one of the small vanilla cups. They had to be careful about ice cream because of the factory it was made from. 2-year-old Celeste was allergic to tree nuts, which are almonds, pistachio, pecans, walnuts, etc. It was not a peanut allergy. Peanuts grow in the ground. So that is not one of the nuts she was allergic to. Christopher said the allergic reaction Celeste had from tree nuts were rashes and breathing problems. Also, each reaction can get worse. With her already having breathing problems, I'm sure Shanann was afraid of her having a bad reaction, where she would have problems in breathing. Any mother would be careful about any allergy her child has. The granddaughter went to the freezer and took out an ice cream cup. She sat next to Celeste, was eating ice cream, and was not made to move while eating it. The tree nut allergy was something newer, and Christopher said he didn't think Cindy really believed she had an allergy to nuts. Cindy says she did not know her granddaughter had gotten the ice cream out. This made Shanann angry, and she did not hide her feelings. Christopher's nephew, who was 10, told Bella that they would probably not ever get to see them again. That was a prophetic word, as that was the last time any of them saw Bella, Celeste, or Shanann. Things had been so bad for so long between the Watts and Shanann that Cindy asked her to leave until she could calm down. Something Shanann had only just realized and was willing to fix was the breach between her and her in-laws. She could see how seriously Christopher was taking it. She sensed the difference in the way Christopher was treating her for the first time since she knew him. She shared with a friend maybe she had gone too far this time, and he was tired of having her pit him against his family. He knew his parents weren't perfect, but he didn't like the demands Shanann put on him to not see his family or not allow his kids to see their grandparents. He didn't like what Shanann had done to him in making him shut his parents out of their lives. He said she had flat out told him he could not call or see his parents again. In the past, this may have worked, but now Christopher was simmering and getting up the nerve he needed. Christopher did cleave to his wife during the times of trouble between Shanann and his parents. After a while, he had missed his family, and he longed for things to be good between them. He didn't see any real reason they couldn't all be family. Cindy and her
I mean, I miss my family too when I was in the military. I'm not going to sit there and try to do something to the army. That would be a joke. Like, he blamed the wrong. It doesn't make sense. Like, when you move to why? Like, the biggest thing I want to know too is why they moved to Colorado. Why is that the biggest? Like, was it their dream to move there? I mean, is that what they wanted? Because they could have stayed in North Carolina, but maybe they wanted to get away just to start a new life and be together and focus. I mean, you could call. I mean, you could. I mean, my parents live in the same town, and I don't see them as much as I want. But am I going to murder my family over it? No.
Daughter-in-law did not get along well, but that certainly does not make her a murderer. Not all personalities get along, and that's okay. Cindy says she did not interfere in their marriage. Christopher said he knew from the beginning that Shanann did not care for his mother and his sister, and they did not care for her. He says he let it go on for too long. He should have confronted it, but never did. He always sided with Shanann because he knew if he didn't, there would have been trouble. On a daily basis, the Watts family deals with people who hate them for the crime their son committed, thinking their daughter-in-law...
I don't hate Cindy. I dislike... People dislike me. People hate me. I don't hate Cindy. People keep saying, well, why do you keep hating? I'm not hating on them. I just dislike what they have done by saying the nasty things about Shanann. I've never said it. I hated Cindy. I dislike.
Had just killed their granddaughters. Of course, they were not happy with her. At the time, all the information they had was what Christopher had told them of how he killed Shanann because he caught her killing the girls. That is what Christopher told his dad and the FBI agents at the time of his
He only said that because Tammy gave him this idea, which I think she used to get him out of his shell. It was a tactic. So we're not blaming Tammy. It's not her fault. But he wanted to run with it. He was not going to say a thing. But then when he heard that, he's like, this could be what I could do. I could say this.
confession. What people don't realize is that this is the last time they saw their son or talked to him until the day of the sentencing. When they saw him, the only thing he could tell them was he was pleading guilty for
Oh,
a
there's a
reason.
hidden
Going
recorder
into
right there.
sentencing, they still had no idea as to what exactly happened. Ronnie and Cindy did not know what to think. Their heads were spinning. Just as Shanann's parents knew she wasn't capable of hurting her
She
girls,
was not.
the Watts family questioned how Christopher could be capable of this since he had never shown any signs of violence. The Watts did not go to the funeral, and this was huge for them. Ronnie made a phone call to one of the family members and was told it might be best if they did not come. They were told the media was everywhere, and if they came down, most definitely they would have been attacked by them. This was not told to him in a malicious way, just in a way to watch out for everyone. The Watts family say they did not want to make a scene or make it harder on anyone, so they decided to stay away. However, they did have a service of their own with friends and family. They had their pastor say some words, and they sang Amazing Grace. It was beautiful and very sad at the same time. What did it take not to go to the funeral and graveside of their daughter-in-law and 3 grandchildren? It was heartbreaking for all of their family. Unfortunately, the last visit with Shanann and their granddaughters ended in discord. No one could possibly know how hard this could be or how one might feel. But it would have been nice if the 2 families could have put their differences aside and held each other up during this time. It was totally heartbreaking for all. There are many things between the Watts family and Shanann I have chosen not to write about. Some of the things that have been said about Shanann are cruel and filled with hate. Christopher agreed with me not to say these things about her. She does not deserve it. It is very unfortunate because they are both good families. They both were hurt and had the most unimaginable loss when they could have been a strength for each other. Hopefully, true and complete healing will come between them someday. They loved and adored those grandchildren, and there are hundreds of pictures and videos to prove it. They were very, very blessed for what time they had with them. Those baby girls are their shared bond, and hopefully someday they will be able to look past their hurt just enough to help each other try to heal and get past this.
Scary to think about that Chris may never talk. They may never coexist and be on the same page as each other because of this person and that person being murdered and committing the murder. And with that being said, guys, I don't really want to do any more videos on NUTGATE. I just think it's too, like, I want to focus on you know who and what her involvement is. I mean, we pretty much are beating a dead horse nowadays, but we're going to continue finding little bits and pieces that may be linked together. But the events that took place with NUTGATE is that obviously they didn't get along. They didn't talk to each other very well. Shanann was definitely very protective of her girls, as any mother would be doing. Cindy was being protective, I wouldn't say of, well, she was protecting of Chris because that was her baby. But he's not a baby anymore. He's adult. I know, seeing my son at 11 years old, I still see him as this little baby. That's probably what she sees in Chris. Again, I'm not subjectively saying that what he did is okay. And again, I'm not saying I hate Cindy. I don't know where this is coming from at a ballpark. I dislike what she has done, what she has said. I have the ability for freedom of speech, as do you. I just think that the whole the whole situation that went down with NUTGATE, with them fighting over the peanut allergies, like the Rzuceks did, is they made sure that there was no peanuts in the house. No peanut butter, no peanut inside food or cookies and ice cream. Like, it was all removed. The Watts should have known that, to take everything out that had somewhat of peanuts, tree, whatever have you, should have been taken out, and it was not. It was like they didn't really care. They're like, oh, you're exaggerating. I don't believe you. Like, she had EpiPens for allergic reactions. Like, it's no joke. Not breathing problems upon her like, it just seems like Cindy didn't care towards Shanann. And she still bashes her in interviews and stuff like that. And that's what's upsetting, is because there's a woman that's gone because her sons became a murderer, and she wants to blame the one that's gone. That doesn't make sense. So, with that being said, please comment your guys' thoughts down below. Please keep them positive. I've definitely had to wean out, obviously, the trolls and haters. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But if your opinion is going to be nasty and bullying, you're going to be deleted. Just saying. I don't want it on my channel. Okay? You can disagree, which is completely fine, but you don't have to be nasty about it. You can talk and debate amongst each other without being nasty to the next person. Be the better person and talk and debate. It's not that hard. Again, I thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys go over to Real Killers and give them some love. Subscribe, comment, like, and share. Don't forget to do it over here as well, as we will continue on this case. I still would like to get into other cases as well, like the Mika Miller case and so forth. I still want to look into Casey Anthony. So we'll be definitely doing more cases. I still am going to continue with the Chris Watts case. Hit the like button, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So please take care, be safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time.